my name is John Schwartz, and I'm a first grade teacher at Garrison Elementary, Visual and Performing Arts School in Oceanside, California. We have a band in my class that's made out of boys and girls, and we're all performing on a live blues show. We have about 3 songs in our repertoire. First, we started playing talent shows at school, and now we've played for the Oceanside Unified School District Board, and we've also played in public fairs. The way that it started is I started bringing in blues music that I enjoyed, and I was playing it for the kids, and then one of the kids just spontaneously started coming up and singing and dancing with it, and other girls started joining her. So it was really a spontaneous thing. It was never a plan, hey, let's form a band, but rather they started doing it, and I allowed them to go with it.
When the band started, that's all she's been able to talk about is all the different performances that they're doing. She told me when they performed at the Sunset Market that they've been discovered and they're famous.
She just really likes to get up there and sing and dance and just express herself through both of those mediums, and she has a great time doing it, and she cannot wait till the next time she gets to perform.
You're being immersed in the English language through something that is fun and very, very interactive versus I'm trying to remember a list. And yeah, I can do that list and I call that back, but it's not really functional. It's not functional with where I am right now trying to learn a new language, where music and the words that they're using within the music, because it's typically songs that they can relate to, that's much more functional.
When children are happy, when they're engaged, when they're learning to read through music, when they're learning to understand culture through dance, when they are creating stories, when they are putting all of their knowledge together, making sense of it, they're happy kids, and they think with ideas.
It's not just about a teacher manual. It's not just about the state standards. It's about how you can creatively incorporate those into what it is that we are bound to teach, but also to find a way that it's authentic, that we can integrate a variety of standards, and also to help teachers understand that this is a guide, but not to replace your personhood.
We're provided with curriculum by the district. It's a good tool, but it's just a tool, and I try not to get caught up in it's day 1, so we're on page 1. It's day 2, we're on page 2. There's a lot of times when I find that because of my own interests and the fact that I'm familiar with the standards, I can bring in material and my own passion to engage the students.
Is this the tea?
When I'm not teaching, I do writing and photography for fishing and travel magazines. And so I really love photography, I like writing, I like working on the internet, I like blogging. And these are things that I've brought into the classroom, and the students seem to pick it up too. I've been a professional musician since I was in high school. The blues is cool because it allows me to bring my own love of traditional American blues music and my guitar playing into the classroom.
Don't ease me in.
I've been
All night long coming home. Don't ease me in.
We had a student who came in from Japan in early January. Not only had she come in mid-year, which is kind of traumatic for any student, but she wasn't using the ABCs. And there had been a lot of recent traumatic events in Japan. So when she came, she was really shut down, and she had a hard time adjusting to being in an American classroom.
The first couple months, I think, were so important for her to find something to grab onto, something to look forward to. And so the music time and the time dancing and doing that was something that became something that we could easily tell her that she's going to do at school. Right. And that let's go to school because you're going to be singing, and remind her of that. And that was one of the ways that we used to kind of persuade her. Right. Once we realized that that's something that she did and she enjoyed.
What I've always liked about using music with the really little kids in the program is it builds vocabulary in a fun way. I think we all know that there are songs that we remember from when we were really little, and tunes and the lyrics stay with us for a long time. So when you have children that are apprehensive about learning new vocabulary, it might be second language, they may just be delayed. It's a really good way to enhance vocabulary and give them ways to recall.
The women and the feathers bought them deep in the news.
It's alerting for them, it imposes a rhythm, there is a predictability, and it gives them a level of success, because the more they repeat that, the more they find that they can be intelligible by controlling the pacing, and that's what music does for them.
In class, she's picking up these songs, she'll just want to sing the songs, and so I found that as a way for her to connect with the language, rather than to see it as kind of academic or a study, to see it as something that's fun.
What I notice is that when I'll bring in something and the students like it, then that makes me even more enthusiastic about teaching it. A couple of years ago, I put together a video about some kayak fishing adventures that I was doing. And I had to learn Photoshop to do some of the animation in there. Once I became proficient in Photoshop, I started bringing it in and showing those tools to my students, who were second graders at the time. And since then, it's been a staple of my instruction. It's just one of the ways to access the students' art skills and integrate technology into the classroom.
In our classroom, we were doing an art contest, and I drew a hawk, and then I scanned it on the computer, and then made it into a heart.
This is like a first grade doing some high-tech stuff. Just being able to scan her work and then polish it up in Photoshop. She can scan her own freelance artwork and then go into Photoshop, change the color, change the background, do gradient colors. I mean, it's pretty amazing the stuff that they're able to do, and I don't even know how to do it, so I'm pretty jealous.
It's my job to be a talent scout. I'm not to sit there with a pacing manual, day one, page one. My job is to see how the students best learn, their learning preferences, and deliver the material to them that's interesting to them, and also at a pace and in a flavor that they can enjoy.
Another way of looking at that is find a window of acceptance or entry into a child's cognitive domain in which they prefer to learn.
In the morning when we come in, we do about an hour of direct and explicit instruction. Those students that already have the standards mastered are allowed to go blog. And when they go blog, they'll blog about their own personal experiences, they'll blog about their feelings and their thoughts. They'll keep it anonymous. I teach them internet safety, and they can also put their own art. They scan their own art via Photoshop into their blog, and then they digitally manipulate them. One of my students, Canyon, he loves technology. If you turn on any screen in the classroom, he can't stop looking at it. So I started a blogging program with him where he blogs, and then his parents get an instant email update.
So blogging has been a way for him to get ideas out in a creative way. He will post it, and I'll get a message on my iPhone, so will his dad, so will his grandma. When we notice it, we'll be able to reply back, even if it's a simple, oh, that's funny, and love you. And he enjoys getting those back and seeing that response. So it prompts him to write even more.
Azaria's always been a gifted child. She came in on first day, and I talked to her mom within the first several days, and I said, look, she knows almost all of the first grade standards. I mean, I could pick and choose a couple of things that I need to teach her, but for the most part, she's good to go. So what do you want to do here? Would you mind if I teach her some advanced mastery skills, some collaborative learning skills, some teaching skills, some leadership skills? And she was all for it.
When we approached her with the idea, she was just enthusiastic about it, and it really helped her build up her confidence to become a better leader. It helped to allow her skills to be showcased. She's always talking about how the different kids in her class are being able to come up to her and ask her questions about the work and how she's able to facilitate and help them. She's told me that she's the ambassador for Anna, who's Japanese, who's new to the class, who didn't have any English speaking skills, and how she's helping her around the campus and teaching her Photoshop, and how Anna's able to understand and relate with her.
When I'm looking to design collaborative learning groups, the first thing that I need to do is find students in the beginning of the year who are capable of running them. They need to know the information. And then what I'll do is I'll get a cross-section of students, some who don't know the material, some who do, some who are really good verbally, some who are really good with organizational things. I won't put all the students who are really squirrely in one group, for example.
So how would you get off the desert island? I would go all the way around the island, even in the middle, and try and look for a boat or something. Or make a fire, like in the picture. Okay, so you try to find a fire, then what would you do? for water.
So Canyon and Azaria started working together on this Stranded on a Desert Island blues band project. Canyon is extraordinarily creative, and he has ideas come into his mind at a mile a minute. And Azaria is extremely patient and organized. She's also creative, but she's a lot more focused. Canyon doesn't write a lot because he has so many thoughts coming into his mind that it's frustrating for him to slow down and get it on paper. The amazing thing was when they were working together, he was able to produce a much larger piece of work and stay still for a lot longer and be patient, because he was working with somebody that complemented his skill set.
In designing your cooperative groups, you need to have kids who are extremely diverse come together. And the reason that that's important is that it allows all those different skills and aptitudes and weaknesses to be melded together, and you come out with a much better product rather than putting all the bluebirds together and the red cabooses together and that sort of thing. That's not what this needs to be about, because that's not how the world works. So you're really training kids how to get along in the world and how to achieve with many different types of people. And it's not all about what's convenient for me. It's not all about, I did it this way last year, so I got it down, so I'm going to do it the same way this year. It's about assessing what your students' needs are and making a determination and tailoring what it is that you offer and how you offer it on what they need and what works best this year, with the underlying philosophy of cooperation and collaboration.
It's been a good experience for us and for me, myself personally, as far as how to engage my daughter. Okay, she loves music. I have a guitar. I could take what she learns at school and bring it home as well. And so that's something that I'm learning as a parent, right, which is always good too, when you know that your daughter and what she's experiencing at school can actually teach you something about her and about maybe what she wants to do with her life.
I think the experience that she's having with the band and the performing arts part, which is the primary reason why I wanted her to come to Garrison, is because of the performing arts part of it. And I do think that if it were not for a teacher like Mr. Schwartz, who thought outside of the box, she would not have had this opportunity. None of these students would have had the opportunity that they have right now, being able to integrate music with their learning.
One of the things that I've learned through working this year with the first graders is how quickly they can learn things that I only thought older kids could learn. They're picking up Photoshop, they're learning complex rhythmic patterns, they're decoding and phrasing things and learning vocabulary at a much higher rate than I would ordinarily expect had we not been using music as a tool for learning. I've seen students go from really withdrawn and scared to feeling confident and not just learning English, but learning personal skills. Their personality has grown, and it's kind of like they've joined not just the school culture, but they've assimilated into the greater community. They feel a part of things and they feel confident. This is like the most fun I've ever had in my life. I've done a lot of really interesting things, but this is the first time where I felt like what I'm doing really mattered.
When teachers are having fun, when they're enjoying what they do, when they're feeling fulfilled, it's a good experience for children and families.